So like Judy said, I am Elise Gard, and today I'm going to be showing you all how this became this at our first day to this today. So I'm not going to get into the details yet. I'm actually going to take it back to about 15 years ago to 2007. So I've been around gardens my whole life. My parents always grew a beautiful garden each summer. I distinctly remember picking little silly shaped carrots one spring, and whenever we'd visit my grandparents for the 4th of July, I'd help my grandma shell the peas that she had been growing. So that kind of led to me joining a school garden project in 2014, where I was hired for this project. You can see my little 8th grade self on the left. I applied because I'd always been around gardens and I just wanted to expand my knowledge and also get paid for it. So students get hired back at the beginning of each garden season based on their skill in the garden, becoming leaders and mentors the next year. So fast forward 4 years to the photo on the right, which was taken in 2018, where I'm a garden assistant for the same project. No other student had been with the project as long as I had, so I knew the ins and outs of gardening and everything at that point. And I was a senior in high school, and despite a really weak effort to start a garden at the school with my AP environmental science teacher, nobody else was interested, and I just didn't feel confident enough to initiate any real plans. But fast forward to the present, and a motivated group of students and I have constructed around 500 square feet of annual garden space outside my old high school, Free State. So to catch you all up, this was the approved plan as of November 2020. So after finals part 1, the first step that was like urgent was breaking ground, because cold weather was looming, winter break was about to happen, and we knew we had to act quickly. So I created a sign-up sheet. The high schoolers really helped me get contacts to the school's volunteer organizations, and we ended up getting over 30 students to help between the 2 December workdays. So this is us out working. I had been so stressed about getting compost to prepare the garden beds on such short notice, getting mulch to fill the swales and create the paths, but the groundskeeper for the school was able to get us huge piles of both, and it ended up being the perfect amount. So I decided that we should build lasagna layers for the beds, which is alternating brown and green materials. So we did a thick layer of cardboard to suppress the weeds and grass that was underneath. And then going up, we did layers of compost, leaves, food scraps, newspapers over and over until we ran out of materials. And we didn't end up spending any money on the beds on any of these work days because we got everything for free from, recycling bins, free from the city, the mulch and the compost. And I had called around to a bunch of different grocery stores in the city. And after many rejections, we finally got a huge donation of 5 boxes of fruits and veggies that were just going to get thrown out to the landfill from Sprouts. And you can see we had to cut all of them up so they would break down good enough. And then the progress over the 3 months, we really just had to let it wait to break down. So this was in January. You can see the exposed cardboard and newspaper. February, it's about the same. It looks like nothing's happening, but in reality, all of these materials that we layered up were breaking down and creating a beautiful, strong soil structure. And then in March, when we uncovered the soil for the first time, we basically uncovered black gold. Like, for being a bunch of recycled compostable materials in December, I was just so happy to see how beautiful the soil looked after just 3 months. It means that there's a strong soil structure and a high amount of organic matter. And just to emphasize again, I just think it's amazing that these materials, the newspapers, food scraps that were at the end of their life cycle and destined for the landfill, are now going to give our plants all the nutrients they need for the season to grow and be healthy. And we're creating new life from old materials, and the students just get to be in this process and see it happening firsthand, which I think is really special and important. And then back a little bit more, in February, I met with my old permaculture professor who had helped us along the way, and we organized for her to come and teach a class to some of the high schoolers on how to plan and plant a annual garden space. And she also brought her current students along to help us plan for planting. So this was at the beginning of that first workday that Amber helped us plant with her permaculture class. So, you can see the mulch on the soil, which we had to remove because it was taking away nutrients that our veggies would need. And then you can see cardboard sticking out, still newspaper sticking out. There was grass coming up. And then in the middle of the workday, we laid mulch, we uncovered the beds, we leveled the soil, we suppressed that grass that was coming up. And after that, we were ready to plant. And that was just after an hour and a half of work. So it was just really awesome. And then a week later, we got seeds from the schools, the district's farm to school program, and they donated seeds for free. And then we had to supplement a little bit by buying some with the CAP grant our project received. But you can see in the top left corner, the students were really, really inspired after the planning workshop that we did, and they planned the whole space. So we have, most of the beds are like 50 feet long, and then one of them is 21 feet long, but they planned the whole space. They planned it for the spring crops and the fall crops and the summer crops, which was just really amazing because they were so just inspired after those classes that they took it on themselves to plan it. And this workday that we had for planting, it was the first time ever planting seeds for a lot of the students that were out there. So, I taught them about the importance of seed spacing, thinning, watering the right amount, all of that. And I just think it's really great life skills for students to learn about the whole process of gardening, specifically planning. And I'm excited for the future to help them learn more about harvesting, watering, just weeding, all of that kind of stuff. So this is the final slide, and the 2007 Elise, the 2014, 2018 Elise that I showed you before just wouldn't have believed that this is possible. Even the 2020 Elise was anxious about taking on this leadership role with the project, feeling like I wasn't qualified enough to map the swales or plan and direct the work days. Like, sure, I could work in a garden, and like, sure, I took a permaculture course at KU where I learned about sustainable land use planning and a little bit about annual garden spaces, but I couldn't start a garden, like, could I? But that attitude really held me back from starting a garden in high school, and it almost stopped me from applying to be a PGC finalist last October. And I'm just really excited that I didn't let that hold me back this time, and I'm really excited for this project to keep developing, for the students to continue getting their hands in the dirt and learning about sustainable gardening, building great soil and other valuable lessons as a result of this space we've built. We plan to involve the garden in woodshop classes who are planning on building like picnic tables for around the space, involving the culinary classes to cook with what we grow, and biology classes, which actually has a class planned this summer for students who didn't get biology credit this year. And it's just gonna revolve totally around the space. So yeah, I'm just really excited for the future. I want to keep up the annual planning workshops. And just those lessons are so valuable for young people. And I didn't have those opportunities really in high school, even though I had garden experience. And I'm just really proud that future students will have this opportunity in this beautiful space to learn and grow with what we're growing. So yeah, thank you.